โอ้ดีโหัวเราะเพื่อปลุกเวลคัมทูเดอะราชการเพิ่งไปดิสนีย์แลนด์เข้าบ้านผีสิงโอเคtoday อาจารย์วิทย์ cannot join นะคะ he went to somewhere in Thailand and he is the host for the meeting we postpone for today because yesterday we have Maria presentation for the thesis defense so I have to join that meeting so sorry นะคะ so for today the presentation will be 15% เนาะ okay so start with ปิงก็ได้ค่ะอาจารย์พลอย has an urgent she has like the something in stomach not sure หรือแต่ปิงเตรียมแล้วให้ปิงก่อนก็ได้นะคะอาจารย์จะได้พักก่อนก็ได้ค่ะ
ทำไมได้หมด
กลัวเดี๋ยวเหนื่อยอาจารย์พลอยเขาพยายามนัดแล้วแต่ว่านัดไม่ได้อัลตราซาวด์วันนี้ก็เลยแกก็บอกว่าเดี๋ยวแกออนไลน์มาบอกไม่ไปอัลตราซาวด์เถอะอัลตราซาวด์ไปออนไลน์ไปด้วยกันไม่ได้นะคะก็เลยค่ะเริ่มเลยค่ะ
So good morning everyone. This is my presentation for the video episode of the economic evaluation. So the article that I chose is called Cost Effectiveness of Treatment of Opioid Use Disorder that published in JAMA Psychiatry on the year of 2020. And the region that they have conducted study is at US. So for the introduction about opioid use disorder can be easily understood as like opioid drug addict that it has become a public health crisis and significant cause the mobility, mortality, lost productivity, and criminal justice system cost in US. So this is the flower, the poppy, what they derive from. And this is morphine, the representative drug of this kind of drug. So there is the intervention to the treatment for the opioid use disorder. The first one is about the medication intervention. First line is the methadone, a full opioid agonist offered only in the federal licensed opioid treatment program in US. And the second one, the buprenorphine, partial opioid agonist offered in the opioid treatment program and in office based on models such as the primary care practice. And the third, the extended release naltrexone, the agonist. And these three are in the same class. And the fourth sentence is the naloxone is the overdose rescue medication for people in the acute overdose that usually used in emergency department. And the intervention that non-medication is the psychosocial services that can be offered as the independently and can be in conjunction with other kind of intervention. And it includes the psychotherapy as well as the behavior change strategy known as the contingency management and can be short called as CM. So the objective of this study is to assess the cost effectiveness of the OUD treatment and the association of this treatment with the outcome in US. And the participant include the individual with the OUD diagnosis in US population, the general US population. And also they have conduct a model study with the veteran with OUD because they have about 7 times of higher prevalence more than general population. So the comparator is the intervention that I just introduced, the medication assist treatment that can be called as MAT, the methadone, oral buprenorphine, the injectable extended release naltrexone. And these 3 at the right hand, in this study they use as an add-on, and the medication is used as the main therapy. So the add-on is psychotherapy, the overdose education that combined with the naltrexone distribution together. And the last one, contingency management that used as a behavioral intervention. So all of these they combine or use along, and at last it will have the 26 treatment options, including the possibility of no treatment as a control group. So the treatment option will look like this one, the untreated and the overdose education and naloxone distribution that will use only in emergency treatment for overdose. And these 3, the methadone, the buprenorphine, the naltrexone, used as the main drug that will be specific as one and add on with the other, the CM treatment, the naltrexone, and the psychotherapy. So their measurement of cost will divide it into 2 groups. They will measure the healthcare cost that specific into they will group into age state specific cost, the sex state specific cost, and the OUD state specific cost. And the cost will be measured by the healthcare cost, the non-fatal overdose cost, the treatment cost, the fatal overdose cost, and the treatment. And they also will measure the criminal justice cost that the data come from the criminal justice system. About the result as a base case analysis, the population outcome in the no treatment, there will be 42,717 for the overdose, and about 4,000 of them will be fatal, and about 38,000 of them will be non-fatal, and the death case will include 12,000 that were estimated to occur in the cohort of 100,000 patients over 5 years, and the 11 discount lifetime quality were estimated to be experienced per person. And the mortality rate, total death decreased for all treatment options compared with the no treatment. The medication assist treatment with the methadone was associated with a reduction in death by 6%. And the MAT with the medication that used the buprenorphine or naltrexone was associated with the reduction in death by 13%. And the methadone association with death was lower because it's associated with higher mortality during the first month of treatment. And the greatest reduction in death occurred when the medication assist treatment was combined with the contingency management and the naloxone treatment and psychotherapy. They were associated with the decrease of 16% for the methadone and of 23% for the buprenorphine and naloxone. The lifetime outcome, the discount per person equally increased for all treatment options compared with no treatment. And the overdose education and naloxone distribution alone increased per person equally by 0.22%. And the medication assist treatment alone increased per person equally by 1.02 to 1.07. Quality gains are similar for three forms of medication intervention because although individual entering methadone treatment have higher individual mortality, the retention while taking methadone is greater than while taking buprenorphine and naltrexone. The greatest quality increase occurred for the MAT with the contingency management. How to say, when you use the medication treatment combined with three of the add-on together, it will have the greatest quality increase for 1.7 quality gain per person for all three form of the medication intervention. This is the table that they show the result that I just talking about. The first column is the treatment option that they combine in the 26 group. I just cut some of them. And this is the mean direct effect of the intervention that they calculate. And you can see that for MAT treatment, it increase the background healthcare cost, increase the treatment cost, and reduce the criminal justice cost. And for the overdose education and overdose emergency treatment, it increase the intervention cost, but decrease the healthcare cost per overdose. And the contingency management is only increased treatment cost and decreased rate of MAT, but it still help to decrease the rate of people leave the MAT treatment and similar to the psychotherapy. For the cost effectiveness analysis, when we only included the healthcare cost, the methadone alone was the first intervention on the efficient frontier, costing 16,000 per quality gain compared with no treatment. And the methadone with the overdose education and naloxone distribution will gain 22,000 per quality. A bit increase. You can see in this graph. And the buprenorphine with the OEND and CM also increased higher than the other. They gain 42,000 per quality. And when criminal justice costs were included, all forms of the medication assist treatment were cost saving compared with no treatment because the individual receiving treatment and the individual who become abstinent due to treatment have the significantly lower criminal justice cost than the untreated people with the opioid use disorder. why the no treatment option is dominated for the MAT with the methadone, the addition of the CM dominated methadone alone, and further adding the OEND cost about 39,000 per query gain, and if further adding the psychotherapy cost, it still have 228,000 per query gain. But for the overdose education and the naloxone alone cost the 51,000 per query gain compared with no treatment, because the naloxone keep people alive longer but does not reduce the individual's criminal justice cost, and total cost model is modestly increased when it combined with the MAT. So for the VA analysis, the veteran people, a key difference from the general population is only the VA specific analysis was that percent quality gain from treatment were lower, is about 0.17 quality gain for the NEND and the 0.83 to 0.87 quality gain for the medication intervention, because the population of veterans patients with OUD usually will be older on the average than the general US population, and it comprises a greater proportion of male individuals. Despite of differences in the magnitude of health outcome, the cost effectiveness results are similar. So for conclusion, the analysis suggests that MAT for the OUD with the addition of behavioral intervention, psychotherapy, and OEND is likely to generate a significant health benefit while being cost saving compared with the no treatment when the costs from the healthcare and criminal justice system are considered. So the fact that OUD treatment is cost saving further strengthens the case for the providing it. So the policy maker can support this effort. That's all for my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you ค่ะอาจารย์พัสถา you have a question?
I have two questions. The first one, if correct me if I'm wrong, that you presented the methadone have the lower cost. I mean, it's cost lower because people die more. Is that right?
In the first month.
Oh, so in your opinion, if you are a policy maker, how will you weigh between the methadone that costs less but die more and other, which method will you use and how do you make a decision?
Maybe I will use the second one, but before I read this article, I only know the methadone is the most no intervention, I think.
Okay, and if the methadone that die more, is methadone alone or methadone with additional behavioral treatment?
For this part, I think I have to see it on the supplement. Thank you.
Another question, they discussed that for the VA population, it's different from the other population.
Yes.
Because it's male and it's old.
Yes.
How can male and old be
Because
different? why male and old male is different from other population?
I think because for older people, they health condition will more vulnerable, and for male is like is the proportion of people who have opioid use disorder mostly are male compared to female.
So when they say that it's a different, it means that the modality that they use,
Compared to the baseline,
it means that the outcome is different. I mean, the cost is different, or the quality gain
the
is
quality
different.
is like lower than the general population and the baseline.
Thank you.
Thank
So,
you.
so it's like subgroup analysis.
Yes,
Subgroup analysis.
they only analyze in the small group because the veterans have higher prevalence compared to the general population.
You talk a lot about resource, but back to methodology, how they measure cost is because we already learned how to measure cost. It is they measure top down or bottom up or by activity based cost or review form literature.
As I read, they assume cost. I think from the literature review because they assume the same cost to be more easy to calculate.
Did they apply for any discount rate in the study?
Yes, they use this coverage to analyze.
And what kind of model they use in the study? They use dynamic, no? They simulate the individual patient's data from systematic review data, like they
Yes.
review for hazard ratio and use that hazard ratio for transition probability and simulate 100,000
Yes.
time for 100,000 patients and then calculate ICER based on that number.
Yes.
Okay. And how about quality? How they measure quality of life?
I think this one they measure from the previous study that they have from the systematic review and from their database, the US database.
So they didn't survey by themselves.
Yes.
They use all data, secondary data,
Yes.
and simulate the
Yes.
model, dynamic model for individual patients' data. So we have to critique more on the method, no? We already passed the course. So in which perspective they present in this study? The healthcare or societal or patient? In your opinion from your reading?
Healthcare.
Okay, no, okay. Any more questions from student ครับไม่มีเนาะโอเคขอบคุณค่ะ
Thank you ค่ะ
So I will weight the score based on the item I showed you last time, no? 11. So we have like how to measure cost, how to measure utility, handling time. So you have to explain.
Morning, teacher and fellow friends. อ๋อมีคือยังไม่แชร์ใช่ไหมคะอ๋อโอเค sorry ค่ะ เป็นวิวGood morning, teacher and fellow friends. Today, I am Dr. Longkorn Vipasit. Would like to present critical appraisal for economic evaluation. The journal that I chose for today is called Cost Effectiveness and Return on Investment of a Patisserie Ergonomics Intervention Among Childcare Workers. It was published on Journal of Occupational and Environmental Medicine under the Association of American College of Occupational and Environmental Medicine, so it is quite reliable. It was published on the year 2022 at June, and it would be an economic evaluation in a randomized control trial. สักครู่ค่ะมันเริ่มสวยไม่ได้ มันต้องเป็นแบบสกินพอแบบไม่ต่างเพราะว่านี้มันเป็นสกินไม่นานเดี๋ยวแบบช่องที่แชร์กับเสียงแต่ก็อะไร
ยังไงมีคนเลยอันนี้ใช่ปะแล้วก็ไม่ใส่เสียงหน่อยเป็นของเสียงคือจบเลย
จริงตอนนั้นจริงๆผมยังไงให้ตัวเองแชร์
ตอนนี้จะตอนนี้จะหายไปมากเลยแต่ก็
จะแบบคืออะไรนะคนพวกกดแชร์แล้วเพราะว่าอะไรใช่เพราะว่าคนนี้ไม่จังเป็นคำตอบต้องเข้าเสียงเพราะอันนี้สอนต่ออันนี้เป็นการสอนต้องเป็นเซตติ้งแล้วก็
คือนั่นเราใช้ไม่เป็นที่จะทำยังไง
คือว่าไม่สอนนะคะ
แค่เป็นตัวยินดีที่มันใจเป็นตัวยินดีเราก่อนเลย
พอดีว่าความ
ที่เขียนได้ไหม
นี่มันมีต้องบอก
ได้แล้วได้แต่ว่าอันนี้ไอก็ต้อง
อันนี้คือเป็นหน้าอะไรใช่ไหมคะ
อ๋อกล้องที่มันติดไม่ใช่ยังเป็นสี
ใช่ใช่
เดี๋ยวเราเปลี่ยนโอเคโอเค
เพราะว่าคนอื่นไม่ได้ใช้มันก็ได้
ใช่เพราะว่ามันจะ
ทั้งหมดมันต้องเป็น
อ๋อเอาอันนี้ต้องมาเซ็นในไต้องมาเซ็นในนี้ถ้าอยากทำได้แบบนี้ต้องต้องดูใช่ปะต้องดูเดี๋ยวต้องมันเปิดก็นอนไม่ได้เพราะมันเป็นกรีนก็จะต้องมี
แต่ถ้าใน iPad ไม่แน่ใจแต่ถ้าเป็นในคอมมันเริ่มแรกแล้วก็นำไปแชร์ได้ผมก็เลยเปิดแอปคอมพิวเตอร์
ก็ทำได้ครับแต่ว่าไม่คือแบบจะทำพื้นที่เดียวเพราะปกติเดี๋ยวนี้เลยไม่ทำมีเมนเตอร์วิวเพราะว่าแบบรำคาญวิวจะช่วยงานต่อไปแชร์
เลยใช่ไหมอันนี้กดแชร์กดที่หลัง
แชร์ ยิงเซ็นเตอร์วิวอะไร
ปิน
ดีแล้วดีหมดแล้ว
นี่แล้วมันได้ทำไป
เวลาไม่โดนอ๋อ
ต้อง
มันเป็นพื้นที่เขตได้ไหมเนี่ยเพราะว่ามันเป็นความเป็น
แต่ที่ปิดแล้วต้องใช้ยาดูนี่ด้วยมันเป็นเรื่องที่เขาเป็นดิสเตอร์
อยากเลือกไม่เป็นไรนะ
ปิดเอง
ใช่ใช่เดี๋ยวใช้ของ
สื่อได้คือยังเห็นอันนี้เราไม่เป็นไรไม่เป็นไรนะเป็นไม่ได้ของแต่เดี๋ยวนั้นคอนเทนเนอร์เดี๋ยวอะไรไม่อยากให้เขาจะดูแต่ก็ดูเป็นเตอร์แน่แต่เขาถูก
ยอดครับเคยทำอันนี้ตอนที่เราติดคาร์ดิโอแบบนี้เลยเพราะว่ามันดีเลยเปิดหาเครื่อง
ใช้ที่เป็น
มาแล้วมาอย่างค่ะ
อ๋อเลยขึ้นแล้ว
โอเค
ได้อยู่ครับ
มันร้อนตามเราอ่ะไม่ต้องกลับดีกว่า
ไปนะแล้วมา
ใช่มันไม่อยากไม่ต้องคือเซนเตอร์เลยที่เอาแบบแค่พรีเซนต์ธรรมดาเดี๋ยวมันเซนเตอร์มันเอาที่ต้นไม้ที่ต้องเห็นนั่นแหละลากไป
ใช่เป็นที่เหนือเห็นหน้าในมาช้า
อ๋อใช่ไหม
แล้วเด็กจังหวะ
ได้เลยค่ะเข้าไปสามเป็นได้ค่ะโอเคค่ะผู้continue นะ
Yeah.
The paper name is Cost Effectiveness and Return on Investment or Advisory Economics Intervention Among Childcare Workers. It is published and studied under the Association of American College of Occupational and Environmental Medicine. So it is reliable and the objective is to evaluate the cost effectiveness and return on investment of 20-week economic intervention program to reduce physical exertion at work compared to the usual practice among childcare workers. Participant is 190 workers from 16 institutions. The cluster randomized to intervention. The participant with intervention is 96 people, and for usual practice or for control is equal 94 people. The intervention is 3 workshops that to develop or an action plan to improving economic conditions. And in this study, we calculate it as a physical exertion, and it would describe, like to ask the participant to describe it in score 0 to 10. And the rating of physical exertion was measured at baseline and 20 weeks after the intervention program finished. And result, we can see that for 1 unit reduction in physical exertion was associated with saving of 592 euro per worker, and for per euro invested by the employer was associated with 1.6 euro return in the intervention compared with usual practice. So for this study is called benefit analysis. The scope of the study is economic evaluation for cost effectiveness in employer perspective and return on investment. After implementing participatory economic intervention for 20 weeks to reduce physical exertion in childcare workers. The second is selection of comparators. It is comparison between the participatory economic intervention that consists of 3 workshops in the length of 20 weeks, and we compare it with usual practice. Defining the type of economic evaluation. There had 2 economic evaluation. 1 is cost effectiveness and 2 is return on investment. and both are from employer perspective. For measurement of cost, it consisted of the intervention side. For intervention cost, we calculate staff time, economist time, consumable or material cost, which is something like the room, all the materials that we implement with the participants, and for overhead costs, and it all interpreted as monetary value. And the second is health-related productivity loss cost, which is absenteeism and presenteeism. It all valued by using gross monthly salary estimates from the participants. And from measurement of clinical effects, it was self-report, physical exertion at work at the baseline, collect at baseline, and again at 20 weeks follow-up after all the participatory ergonomics intervention. And it was done by electronic questionnaire sent via text message to the participants' mobile phone. But for utility, this study did not measure utility. For the measurement of the cost, it did not use any discount rate because the length time is shorter than 1 year. So it didn't use any discount rate. For handling time in the economic evaluation study, it evaluated between 20 weeks after the implementing participatory economics intervention. Even though the whole trial was conducted between August 2017 and July 2018, but we calculate only the differences between the costs after the baseline at 20 weeks. For handling uncertainty and sensitivity analysis, there are some missing values due to lost follow-up or did not continue with the research participants. There are some missing values. It was imputed using multivariate imputation by chain equations with predictive mean matching. There were 10 complete set of data were created to reduce the loss of efficiency by less than 5%. And the result after the complete set of data and compare with the whole analysis is quite similar, and I will show you later. And there was some slight increase in physical exertion, which led to different ISA values when they analyzed only complete cases. And the study also used cost effectiveness claims to indicate uncertainty around ISA. This is cost effectiveness plan indicating the uncertainty around incremental cost effectiveness ratio for reducing physical exertion at work in intervention control compared with usual practice. We can see that it falls into southeast quadrant, which means it tends to be cost effectiveness and cost beneficial, which is because in the average, it would be less costly and more effective compared with usual practice. The data and the result, it was in the form of net benefit return on investment into monetary value in the unit of euro and cost benefit ratio. Employer willingness to pay curve to evaluate probability of cost effectiveness of intervention. This is the result. At table number 3, we can see the result of the main analysis and sensitivity analysis between the intervention and usual practice. And we calculate into mean cost and physical exertion, ISA, and distribution of incremental cost effectiveness around the quadrants of the cost effectiveness claims
from employer perspective. For main analysis, after we conduct some input data set, we can see that the intervention is still 96 and control is 94, and the net cost is 143 euro. And it decreased by 0.24 from baseline to follow-up compared with the control group. So it means that the mean incremental total cost, that including all of cost of intervention, presenteeism, and absenteeism, was 143 euro per worker. And it is lower in the intervention group when we compare with the control group. And can see that ISO is 592 euro. This indicates that there would be this cost saved in the intervention when we compare with the control group. So 1 unit reduction in physical exertion when we implement the intervention. And when we see the table number 4, it would mainly focus on the return on investment. We can see that after they implement the participatory economics program, there would be gain around 1.63 euro per that invested in the intervention when we compare with the usual practice. And the total benefit that when we calculate on benefit minus with cost, it would equal 336 euro in the intervention group compared with the control group. So the mean net benefit when we subtracting the intervention cost from the total benefit would equal 130 euro per worker. The cost benefit ratio was 1.63, suggesting that each euro when we invested in the intervention compared with usual practice, it would result in cost saving of 1.63 euro per worker. So the return on investment was 63%, indicating a return of 63% of investment per worker when we compare between the intervention and control. And when they separated in main analysis and complete case analysis due to the reason that I mentioned previously, it is because there are some workers who opt out from the study because in the healthcare, childcare center like this, there are high rate of in and out. So they tend to leave out the program because they quit the job already. So when we calculated only the complete case analysis, the result tend to increase, but in a similar way. And this is for employers' willingness to pay curve, indicating probability of the intervention being cost effectiveness for reducing physical exertion at per euro invested by employer per worker. For like when we discuss about the willingness to pay from employer side, normally they would like not to pay any euro to increase their cost. So we need, when we set the graph, the probability of the intervention being cost effective compared with the control group. When we start, it would start at around 60%, and it would increase with increasing value of willingness to pay and reach its maximum at 80%. For health system and equity perspective in health technology assessment, physical exertion in this study calculated into score and all childcare workers are at risk whether they work in the private or government sector. So the result should stimulate all employees to adapt economic intervention into our workplace. And for policy making and roles of health technology assessment, this research study cost effectiveness and return on investment. So it shows, even it might be insignificant, but it still shows that participatory economic intervention tend to be more cost effective and has the potential to gain monetary benefits in the childcare sector. So even it did not measure utility, but it still had potential to act as pilot program to implement into maybe larger populations or longer period after considering some guidelines. Thank you for your cooperation.
I have many.
I
You
understand
explain a
that.
little bit, economic intervention, what does it mean?
Okay, economic, when we talk about the hazard in workplace or when we do our job, there are mainly six categories of hazards that we face every day. To put it simple, economic is the hazard when we do things with our body, like when we click the mouse too much, when we typing the keyboard too much. It would affect the biomechanical hazard to ourselves. So ergonomic, it is quite tricky because when we talk about, oh, I feel painful, but when we conduct or like do some subjective study with it, the result may came out different from the patient perspective. So when we conduct some of intervention by ergonomics, we just want the worker to feel better for their job. So the point of why we need to implement the ergonomic program for workers so they can work a little longer, because like for dentists, they tend to have a low back pain quite early in your life, right? So it might decrease your work life. Like you might need to like retire before the proper time. I mean maybe for some other people, but that's the risk of the job that maybe we didn't think, because it doesn't come as too many light, too hot or something like that, but it is because our body affected by the job too much.
So the intervention, the 3 workshop means that they have give some education
Yes.
for them to reduce the risk.
Yes, it mentioned roughly, but I think normally when me myself need to also like teach some people about ergonomic as well. So if I need to do a workshop, first of all, I need to tell about the part of anatomy that they are affected. Like for us, I might teach some hand disease, like okay, we are doing the clicking, the typing too much, so the affected part would be our wrist, so on like that, and it would be some like exercises that implement like how to prevent, how can we work more effective with using our body too much, something like that. And for 3 workshops, there are, when they mention about they have some ergonomist course. Ergonomist is like another people that would, when they look at someone working, they can tell that, oh, you work wrong in you use your chair wrong, you have wrong computer setting up, something like that. So it would, the employer need to pay higher if they want ergonomists to attend at their workstation.
How about physical exertion? Why they need to measure the physical exertion?
Or it would be the outcome, because when we do our job like this, we think oh, I feel like I am tired. So it would calculate it in physical exertion. Like, oh, when I type too much, I feel that my physical exertion would be around at 5. But if I improve something like I put the computer higher so it reach at my eyesight, and I have some arm rest or arm support, my physical exertion might be lower around 2. So we can see the difference at the baseline that we did not implement any program into it. And we can see the difference that, oh, after some exercise or after some education, they tend to feel more better.
Can you go back to the slide of the cost evaluation?
Yes.
Because I understand that the cost evaluation, the outcome, they measure by the absent or present, because it has some of the productivity loss. But they also measure the physical exertion. So how they convert the physical exertion to be the cost. Do they convert, or do they didn't convert? They just measure.
Yeah, they did not convert the physical exertion into direct, into money indirectly, because when some people, some worker, when they feel, oh, I feel like painful, so I want to opt out today, so they just call in sick, even though they might not like seriously injured or something like that. So that would be absenteeism, and we would calculate it in day first. And for presenteeism, it is something like, oh, when I showed up at work, but I feel not complete 100% effective, but I still show because I just want the money. I just want to make the day to be like a minimum that I would not be deduct the salary. So I just show up, but I would maybe complete my work only 50% as I should at 100. So at the time, and that physical exertion scale, it would implement that, because if we work, we need our workers to feel like low at their physical exertion so they can work 100%. If they feel like higher physical exertion, it means that, oh, even though they try to work, but it may not be effective. So it would integrate it, not just directly into money, it would integrate in absenteeism and presenteeism first. And then we use that day to calculate it in monetary aspect.
My last question is that the return of investment, does it mean that if the staff pay for this program, the worker will work more? And
No, yeah, if when we talk about return on investment, it would like I have a shop that selling juices, and I have a worker A, and if like for usual practice, worker A might have high rate of absenteeism or presenteeism, so I can only sell like 100 baht per day. But if I implemented this program, I can worker A can work more effective, so I can sell more to 150 baht. So that differences of 50 baht would be my return on investment or employer side, not the side of the working or for the worker. And this study as well that because the worker work more effective, the return would be more money or more selling products to employee.
So what is the formula for ROI?
Oh,
ROI is benefit minus cost divided by cost multiplied by 100. So for this study, we have two outcomes. Cost is intervention cost. Outcome one is money. The money we can save because employee can work harder because we implement intervention. That is one, and we calculate for ROI, net benefit, as CBA. Another outcome is rate of physical exertion, no, PE, and that one we calculate ISER for CEA. So for this study, they have like two analysis, CBA and CEA. And for PE is like pain แต่ก็มัน echo เล็กน้อย like pain score for paracetamol, something like this. So it's specific, no? Specific score, not general score. Specific score for ergo.
What is the factory in this study?
Oh, it is.
It is
No, it is it is random in childcare health center. It is like เหมือนศูนย์รับเลี้ยงเด็ก
it can be anything.
anything in this
Nurse เนี่ยเนาะ nurse
oh
care
we only talk about like the nanny
or nanny.
the one that need to stay with
Mm.
face them
So turnover rate is quite high.
Yes.
And for the accent and present, they calculate from human capital approach, no? And for cost, they calculate for bottom up or top down.
oh cost they calculate from bottom up
Bottom up, no? It's because activity based calculation. Okay. And they do sensitivity analysis like this. They do boost
oh
back,
yes
no?
they
Boost back
implement 5,000
5%
data set to use bootstrap
because they don't have distribution for each parameter, so they use bootstrap instead. ค่ะ
ไม่ขึ้นใช่ไหมมันยากนะก็พี่เขียนกันจบไปโอเคปิดเรื่องมันกดไปเนี่ยครับก็จะถ้าบอกทำไม่เป็นวิเชียรกดผิดขึ้นโอเค
เดินบ้านกันที่เรามาที่เราไม่ได้เลย
Okay, so start. So good morning all. This is my critical appraisal of economic evaluation presentation. So okay, so this is the paper that I chose. The cost effectiveness of comprehensive quadruple therapy for heart failure with reduced ejection fraction, which published in JACC Heart Failure on 1st of March this year. This one is a multi-center, country trial, so I cannot tell you where it is. Has been conducted. Okay, So this one use the use the population based on the paradigm HF, which is the trial that see the effective of the entresto comparing with the inner field. Okay, so let's go to some background first, just very a little bit because I have said with you all for many times already about heart failure. Okay, so heart failure is that I said before is that the condition that your heart cannot pump the blood onto out of your heart, so it come back, flow back, and then make you have like swelling or fatigue. And this time we're gonna focus on the treatment option here. We have many treatment options for heart failure. Can be like medication, or you can use some assisted device to make your heart pump the blood better, or even heart transplantation, or put some like cardiac resynchronize therapy, or some device that help you with the heart rhythm. So this time we're gonna focus on the medication. Medication did not count. Okay. So for heart failure reduced ejection fraction, we have 4 class of main treatment. And this is all 4 of them: the RNA, beta blocker, MRA, and SGLT2 inhibitors. The best thing is that you have all of it at the same time, 4 of these drugs together. But as you can see that RNA and SGLT2 inhibitor both on the far side is the one that really relatively new and costly because it's new. So some of the cardiologists, they tend to like reduce the cost for the patient by maybe reduce the SGLT2 inhibitor out, or some of it just only like use the RNA and beta blocker, or even you switch the RNA back to old soldier like ACE inhibitor or ARB. So it's come to the objective of this study. They said that to determine the cost effectiveness of quadruple therapy versus the prior standard care regimens, which are the triple and double therapy, which gonna be ACE inhibitor, beta blocker, MRA for triple, and for double is gonna be ACE inhibitor and beta blocker. So the paradigm HF has done in the patient with reducing ejection fraction with the mean of the EF is 30%. So they use this is the flow of the paradigm HF trial that they use at the randomization phase. They have 2 arms of interest. So they use the population from the control arm, which the control arm, most of them have beta blockers, and around 50% of them have the MRA, including to the inner field, which same as our cohort that we find in Rama Thai. Okay. So their PICO framework, the P is going to be heart failure reduced ejection fraction patients, and I going to be quadruple therapy, comparing with the triple and double therapy, and how come they look at the CALI. So this is the cost effective analysis. Let's see the method first. They use the model. They use the 2-stage Markov model. I cannot access their model in the supplement. I don't know why. So I think this one is the one that they use, and the simulated population, they use 3 hypothetical population, which is the double, triple, and quadruple therapy, consists of 1,000 people each, and they based on the cohort arm of the paradigm HF, and this is the characteristic of the paradigm HF trial. That is, the mean age is around 64%, mostly are male, 77%, 60% are white, and mostly all of them New York Heart Association classification is 2 or 3. Which means that the disease is not really bad, and ejection fraction is at 30%. Model assumption is there's going to be 30-year time horizon and assume a single payer. So each cycle of the Markov model is represented at 1 month. Only 2 states is alive or dead, dead in the absorbing state. Absolutely. And they pick cost from routine ambulatory care and drug acquisition and variable cost from hospitalization and urgent visits. So the survival model, they use the control arm of paradigm HF, as I told you before. And at the age of 60 to 80, the mortality rates from inner appeal are in paradigm HF, they use the mortality rate from there. But when you are 81 to 94 years old, the all-cause mortality rate, they increase proportionally with the rate of increase in general US population.
Why not?
Because they said that they didn't mention it clearly, but because as you can see that the higher, I mean, the very advanced age is not really included in the study. Yeah. And also now how they measure cost, they use cost from like ambulatory cost for routine office visit, laboratory tests, other outpatient services estimated based on the medical expenditure panel survey from like 2009 to 2018, and they also adjusted for inflation. Drug prices they assumed by the federal acquisition cost per 2022, and the cost of heart failure hospitalization and non-heart failure hospitalization were the value that adjust in inflation to in 2021 analysis from other projects from dapagliflozin. And urgent outpatient visit, they also use the 2022 paper on dapagliflozin too, which also inflation adjusted. So they measure the cost from review from the literature, while the utility they presented as life year gain and quality adjusted life year gain, which they get it from paradigm HF and DAPA HF for the inner appeal and other metabolic medication. But while for the MRA, they use the emphasis HF, which use the renal for the treatment. Also, all these do have done in heart failure, reduce ejection fraction. And they handling time with the adjusted by the inflation and also discounted currently for 3% annually. And they handling the uncertainty and sensitivity analysis. So they simulated some situation like when the medication becomes generic, or they also simulate the situation which dapagliflozin patent going to be expired on 2025, and they also adjust some factors that in average out of the pocket cost for cortical therapy for Medicare recipients too. So let's see the results. This is the result. As you can see that the quality and the life year is getting better and better when you get more drugs, like comparing to when you compare the cortical therapy to the triple or double therapy, it look like that the quality or even the life year gain is a lot, not a lot, but higher than the other groups. While the either is on the opposite side. As you can see, if you comparing the triple therapy with quadruple therapy, the either is going to be around 81,000. And if you compare the double therapy with quadruple therapy, it's around 51,000. And this one is the some other base case result that you can see that every part, every factor that they look at, the quadruple therapy look better, like CV death is lower, or heart failure hospitalization is lower or lower. Also the like cost per year, but something that you have to keep in mind that ambulatory cost for the drug is higher, absolutely in the quadruple therapy. So this one is the Markov model survival curve. As you can see that the quadruple therapy is like have more survival than other treatment regimen. And this one is they do the probabilistic sensitivity analysis, and the arrow, the dot arrow in red or orange that you can see is a threshold for low value, which the how to say, the government set the threshold, and this one is the threshold of low value, which is $150,000. And they are, if you look at the blue dot is the quadruple versus triple therapy, the percentage of the dot that going across the line is only like 8%, while in the orange dot, which is the double therapy, is only like 0.1%. Most of it like is under the threshold for the payer. Maybe it's gonna call like willingness to pay of the government too. And this one is actually it's an either plane, but it only represent you only the part of the northeastern part, which is the high cost but also high effective. Okay. So if it would me, I would put some more quadrant for it. And so this one is the comparative of the cost effectiveness of the novel therapy. They put in more than even that they have done. The quadruple therapy is in the like it's okay if it high cost, but also more effective. If you're comparing it with whatever like dapagliflozin or like dapagliflozin plus sacubitril/valsartan, meaning that every regimen that you use is high cost, but it's not over the willingness to pay, and also that the most incremental life quality that you got, the most is the one with quadruple therapy here. It is what they want to show. So come to their discussion. They say that the quadruple therapy yield the greatest gain. The either of the triple or double is, as I told you before, and if all of this still lower than the threshold for lower value, meaning that it's also lower than the willingness to pay. And they said that the treatment with quadruple therapy resulted in 1.73 and 2.87 additional life year compared with the triple and double therapy. So for the 3 million people with heart failure reduced ejection fraction in the US, if you put this 10% of the patient, only 10%, and you change them to the quadruple therapy, you can save like more than 1 million year of life only for this. And from the review literature, you will see that less than 10% of patients with heart failure reduced ejection fraction is treatment properly with the guideline directed medical therapy. Less than 10%. Very sad. So this is what they said that we have to think of, that maybe it may be cost, but it also have some benefit of the quality of life year gain that they can get, or even the hospitalization that can get lower. About their limitation, they say that okay, this one conducted in the US, so they have many payer for the and payer and scheme for the treatment for the payer. So the drug cost in one payer may not cost the same as other payer too. So they have many scheme and many things. So it's not all the same, in one payer. And also they say that they use the paradigm HF population. So this one just conducted in 2009 to 2024, which they said that this is relatively new. And also the RNE and the SGLT2 inhibitor is not, they didn't put it in the model of their analysis too. So they conclude that the 4 pillars of treatment of the heart failure is reduce the ejection fraction, is cost effective. They can reduce heart failure hospitalization, mortality, and also increase the quality of life. So it's better to use something like this. So come to the next question, that the health system and equity perspective in HTA. So we can see that quadruple therapy is cost effective. So the decision maker should weigh the potential benefit and cost. So they should try to equitable access to comprehensive treatment options for all of the patients, no matter their social status or their economical status. I mean, they should like get the chance to use it, and also that the policy making and role of the HTA. So HTA can provide the like evidence-based recommendation to policymaker. So the decision maker can use the information to develop the policy that promote the optimal implementation of quadruple therapy, or make it eligible for every patient with heart failure reduced rejection fraction. And that's all. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Any question?
How do they get the willingness to pay?
Oh, it's just the number that the government like postulate. They say that this one is the lower willingness. They use the lower taste threshold. It's just like they just put it up, and mostly they comparing with the like some chronic illness like diabetes or some high cost like cancer, and but they didn't say that this one where does it come from. They just put it up that hey, the government said that like this.
So it's like some threshold.
Yeah.
But normally willingness to pay is from GDP for each country. For some country maybe 3 times or 1 time or 2 times, but for Thailand is 1 time. So in which perspective the study present?
I think this one is maybe looking at the.
So it depends on cost, no? Only direct medical cost, direct non-medical cost, indirect cost as well, or only direct medical cost.
So they look at the direct medical cost.
So
Yeah.
it's be
The
hospital perspective.
yeah.
Perspective, no? Yeah. Do you think can we apply this study in Thailand?
Thailand.
And how?
Very hard.
Very
I think
can
we can use it because this paper is like making it more clearly, like making us to see it better from what we think it is. Like we usually we know that quadruple therapy is better. It can reduce the hospitalization, mortality, and this one like make it more perspective, more view that you can see that even the cost is higher, but it still can save some quality of life. So I think this one is like to make it stronger evidence that hey, you can use it better now. But how can we use it? I think because we have many schemes of
Don't sleepy. Kiki is sleepy so that she doesn't have better.
Eddie.
Eddie, did you speak something?
No. Sorry.
Okay. But because we have many schemes for the paying, so I think we can promote it in some like the civil servant one. If we can promote it actually, but for some other payer, I think we have to talk to them again because. But I think lastly, it is still like even if cost high, but it's still cheap.
So we have to do budget impact analysis, no, for each scheme.
So RNA and SGLT2 is still not in the universal.
No,
Okay.
still not. Only in civil servant that can use it.
A little bit, ICER always have that unit, no? You it should be baht per life year or baht per. Okay. So you see that how they do the sensitivity analysis. They simulate, no?
They did yes some the situation they simulate some situation.
Simulate from the distribution of each parameter. So not like previous study that they do for bootstrap, because for your study we have distribution for each parameter.
Yeah.
Thank you ค่ะ
เป็นไงบ้างเป็นในนิยามมันเราต้องได้ทำอะไรเราไม่ได้แล้วเราก็ไม่คิดว่าอาจารย์ค่ะคนนี้เขาคิดว่าเขาก็ไม่ได้ปรึกษาหมดเราไม่ได้เราไม่ได้แต่ว่า
Morning, everyone. My name is Natha. Today I will present about critical appraisals of economic evaluation. And I try to find out the articles in my field, consultancy field, and a few articles that published in about the economic evaluation, and I select this article. Actually, only 10 articles that perform about economic evaluation. Very few studies in my field. So we didn't be So here is a bit simple study, and it's good for beginning. And this paper published in British Journal of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgery in 2003. The title is A Cost Utility Analysis of Patients Undergoing Orthodontic Treatment for the Management of Dental Facial Disharmony. Okay, the topics that I will follow here is 11 topics about the critical appraisal. And the first topic is about defining the scope of the study. First, the health problems in this study is dental facial discrepancy. That in this study, the researcher did not carry review about these health problems. They just provide only information regarding the impact of health problems that I highlight in the photo. And the researcher did not review about the prevalence, diagnosis, or the treatment guideline of this health problem. So it is not clearly reviewed about the health problems. And what is dental facial discrepancy for everyone here in this room? The dental facial discrepancy is this discrepancy of the bone in the area of dental and facial region. For example, this patient have too big lower jaw relative to her upper jaw. Here is the example of dental facial discrepancy. And the intervention of interest in this study is orthodontic treatment. Orthodontic treatment is a surgery that corrects the size and the shape of the jaw in order to improve the oral function and the appearance as well. So the paper still not describe any characteristic of orthodontic surgery intervention, just provide some details, but they didn't provide the characteristic in the method. So it's not good of defining the scope of the study. And the target population in this study is patients with dental facial discrepancy. And the researcher did not describe the baseline characteristic of study population. Only gender they describe. And the perspective of this study is healthcare perspective. The next the next topics that I will advise is about the selection of comparators. The intervention for dental facial discrepancy, the current practice that we perform is automatic treatment, and the best practice of this problem also automatic treatment, and there is no best supporting care for these problems. And one of the treatment option is no treatment or doing nothing. So the researcher consider all the possible comparators in this kind of health problems, and they select no treatment as a comparator, which is appropriate, but they didn't provide a reason of selecting this, but there are just only two comparators here. And the PICO of this study, the population is patients with interfacial discrepancy, intervention is cosmetic surgery, comparator is no treatment, and outcome is quality and cost. Here's the overview of the study. They begin with the patients with interfacial discrepancy and then follow up and measure the quality of life on each visit from the start of automatic surgery to the end of the treatment. And if I try to categorize, it is economic evaluation approach in the individual level that conducted in observational studies. And the next topic that I will focus is the type of economic evaluation. Since the outcome of this study is the quality of life, so the researcher performed cost utility analysis, which is appropriate, and it is a method of choice when quality of life is an important outcome of the study. And the next is about the measurement of cost. The cost is that the perspective of the cost measurement is healthcare provider perspective, and the cost that they measure during the treatment and they measure as an individual level. So the cost component normally it composed of direct cost and indirect cost, and direct cost itself composed of direct medical cost and direct non-medical cost. In this study, they focus only on the hospital treatment, which is the direct medical cost. And here is the list of the costs that they collect, which are orthodontic treatment, outpatient costs, inpatient costs, and operating theater costs. And where did they get this information? The two orthodontic treatment and outpatient costs here, they didn't specify in the article where they get the information, but maybe from the billing data, because it's a prospective study, and the inpatient costs and operating theater costs, they collect this data and calculate this cost from the key unit cost that I showed here. And the patient who received no treatment would not incur any health service costs. And the next is about the measurement of outcome. This study did not measure any clinical effects. They only direct measure the utility outcome. And the utility outcome that they measure is derived from prospective data collection from observational study, which considered as a primary data source. That data that collected by this approach is varied and suitable for economic evaluation. And the value of the utility, they directly collect from the patient, so patient perspective, and they use the time trade-off or TTO method to measure the utility. What is time trade-off method? Patients were asked to indicate what length of life without their facial discrepancy would be equivalent to their full life expectancy with it. So the study assumed a future life expectancy of 50 more years. And the patient was offered choice A as a 50 years with their dental facial discrepancy and choice B, a shorter lifespan, but in perfect health, or with no dental facial discrepancy. And the time in the perfect health was varied until indifference was reached, so that utility value was recorded, and it is the utility value. And the patient was interviewed about to collect the utility at the start of treatment, at the end of treatment, and also 3 times during treatment, in order to account for the negative aspect of orthodontic surgery. And patients who received no treatment, who were not treated, would remain at their current state for the remainder of their life. And how they get the quality, it is how they calculate the quality, which is the quality of multiple by life year. The x-axis, the y-axis indicates this utility value, and the x-axis is life year. So the area under the curve is the way that we study calculate the quality. The next is about the handling time in this study. The time horizon in this study is 50 years, that I think it's long enough to capture the cause and the outcome, and can be sure that the results are accurate. And the cost was discounted at 6% per year, and the benefit was discounted at 2% a year. The next topic is about the uncertainty and sensitivity analysis. The inaccuracy involved in costing. The researcher performed a sensitivity analysis and estimate a low and a high estimate of base cost, and they consider an estimated error in terms of 95% confidence interval using bootstrap method with 1,000 iterations, and no one-way sensitivity analysis such as tornado diagram was presented in this study. And the uncertainty in mean cost and quality is reflected using a cost effectiveness acceptability curve, or CEAC. Next, I will show the result. The result I divided into 3 parts: the cost, outcome, which is quality, and I saved. This table shows the mean base cost, show the cost component that I mentioned previously, and show the total cost, both non-discount and discount. And they categorize the orthodontic surgery into single jaw and double jaw, or bimaxillary. And the last column is average between both types of surgery. And if I focus on the discounted total cost in the average is around the cost is around 3,182 pounds. And the researcher performed sensitivity analysis and estimated base estimate, low estimate, and high estimate of the mean cost of orthodontic surgery. And about the quality, I only showed it. I will discuss only the group combined or average. It means that patients who receive the orthodontic surgery will gain quality about 5.67 quality gain. And they calculate the ICER and present in the text, and I draw the table in order to more understanding, and I put the cost, the discounted cost, the discounted quality, and calculate ICER. You will see that in order to improve orthodontic surgery can improve the quality of life, and the ICER is around 561 pounds per 1 quality gain, or around 25,000 Thai baht per 1 quality gain. So it means that I say that I get the cos is positive value and the poly is also positive value. So it falls into this quadrant, which means that a cosmetic surgery more effective but more costly. So it depends on the willingness to pay. Is it cost effective or not? And I try to find out the information from in the UK because this study conducted in the UK. And the cost effectiveness test show range between 20 to 30,000 pounds per collagen. So it cost effectiveness if compared to this test show. And the researcher also present the acceptability curve. The y-axis is probability of automatic treatment being cost effectiveness, and the x-axis is willingness to pay. Means that if the health service is willing to pay at around 825 pounds for each additional collagen, the probability of automatic treatment being cost effective exceeds 90%. And the last two topic is about health system and equity perspective in HTA. So from the result of this study, automatic surgery compared to no treatment is a cost effective treatment options for patients with dental facial discrepancy in UK. And this kind of treatment has been available and performed in Thailand. However, it is limited access for dental facial patients to undergo automatic surgery, since only university hospital, provincial hospital, and some large private hospitals are able to operate this surgery, and the cost of this treatment cannot be reimbursed from any health insurance in Thailand. And the last one is about the policy making. I think this is due to the different setting and conditions. So a study in Thai population will be provide full information for policy making. And the result of this study can be helped that when the government wants to allocate the budget, the ICER can be used to compare to others interventions, and before implementation, budget impact analysis should be assessed for affordability. Thank you for your attention.
Presentation. So for this is only one time surgery. Oh,
I think they want to actually they measure the change of the utility pipeline. Right before treatment, what is your quality of life, and at the end of the treatment, after the treatment is finished, what is your quality of life? And during the treatment, they want to account because during the treatment, it is a major surgery. Some patient may think, oh, if I can go back, I don't want to like face with the complication during the surgery.
how about the health outcome if they didn't take any surgery? Health outcome like cannot chew and cannot eat something is that the problem?
Yes, the problem they didn't measure in this study, but the problems when they have the dental facial discrepancy is first one is about the function, and the second one is about the aesthetic.
So is it possible that we do like the cost effectiveness analysis, like cost and then effectiveness is like improvement of?
Yes, we can like measure the chewing efficiency or like muscle. Yes, OHIP14 is OHIP14 is the questionnaire for measure oral health related quality of life, or muscle activity or muscle performance, thing like that. One.
You use the patient rate,
Yes, they use
quality of
PTO method to.
but can you go back to that slide?
I mean maybe. Oh,
Maybe I don't know. I think maybe I have this problem. I had this problem. But then I was like, yeah, but I got since I was young, that's why it's not, maybe you can see it. But my teeth then it went up inside from the lower jaw. But then some of my relatives, they still have this kind of disease, condition. So, and I mean, they wouldn't say they would want to live shorter life for not having it. So how do you think about the method?
Hi, Mal. Can you unmute, please? I can't hear you guys anymore.
แปลว่าปิดมาตลอด
อ้าวจริงไม่ก็ไปตอนหนึ่งsorry it's your turn now
I'm sorry, Ajana. I think that I wasn't hearing you guys.
so can you hear us
Yes, I can hear you now.
okay sorry
It's okay. It's okay, Mal. Yeah.
so it's your turn now can you share your slide
And you to edit.
อืม
Maybe it's your turn. I already finished my presentation.
You present game.
Okay, we can see your slide now.
Okay.
What time is it?
It's just 4 p.m. Sorry, 4 a.m.
4
4
a.m.
a.m. Yes. Yes. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good morning all. So today this is my presentation on critical appraisal on the economic evaluation. And okay, so my paper today I'll be talking on the randomized control trial evaluating the effectiveness and cost effectiveness of families for health, which is a family-based childhood obesity treatment intervention delivered in a community setting for ages 6 to 11 years. This study was done in United Kingdom. So the scope of the study, it's a prospective economic evaluation that was conducted alongside with the RCT, with the aim of assessing the cost effectiveness of the families for health program in comparison with usual care in the treatment of overweight and obese children aged 6 to 11 years. So the analysis were conducted in two perspectives, the NHS and the personal social service perspective. And the second one is a wider societal perspective that additionally included costs incurred by education or broader services or by children's family. So the randomization was done. A total of 128 children were randomized into the Families for Health trial, 63 to the Families for Health program, and 65 to the usual care, which is the standard care. So the 128 children were recruited from 115 families, and 56 allocated to the Families for Health program, and 59 to the usual care. The PICO is, I'm just going to summarize it. It's the children aged 6 to 11 years with childhood obesity. So the main outcome here is a change in children's BMI score and incremental cost per quality adjusted life year, which is a quality gained at 12 months follow-up. And also the quality was calculated using the EQ 5Y dimension, 5Y dimension youth version. Now the selection of comparator, the I here was a family health program and the C was usual care for childhood obesity. The cost comparator here, I just did a cost comparator that I pulled out. So if you look at the intervention side, the cost for developing, this one is the cost associated with the families for health program. So it's a cost for developing the family health program. The total cost here is £32,492, while for the standard cost, it just varied to £6. So you can say £5 to £96 here. I hope you can still hear me, please.
Yes.
Okay. Type of economic evaluation. There are two main analysis. There were two main types here. So here, this paper looked at the cost utility analysis, calculating the incremental cost per quality gain attributable to the families for health program. And they also looked at the cost effectiveness analysis, calculating the incremental cost per unit change in BMI Z-score. So the measurement of cost here was a comprehensive strategy was adopted to estimate the incremental costs associated with the Families for Health program, which encompassed two strands of research. The one was estimation of costs associated with the experimental and usual care programs targeted at overweight and obese children. And the second one is estimation of broader health and personal social service resource input and broader societal resource input. This paper looked at the costing of families for health and usual care programs. So basically here, a pro forma was given to the health facilitators to complete, which was to outline the cost of delivering each Families for Health program, including costs associated with preparation time, program delivery time, travel, parking, refreshments, and miscellaneous expenditures. So these costs were subsequently converted into program-specific estimates of cost per session per attending child using separately collected attendance data. And the cost of delivering the alternative usual care programs. So they also use the same primary research methods. Measurement of clinical effects. What they measured here was the child use of hospital care services, community-based healthcare service, community-based social care, and medicines and drugs at baseline. They measured it at the baseline at 3 months and at 12 months. So they were measured in terms of QALYs. So measurement of utility, QALY was used to measure the preference-based health outcome here, and the European quality of life 5-dimension youth version was also used to assess the health-related quality of life of the children obtained from both parents and children at baseline, 3 months and 12 months after randomization as secondary outcome of the trials. And it was calculated using linear interpolation between baseline and follow-up utility scores, and then it's used to form the main health outcome measure of the economic evaluation. The baseline analysis was conducted using the self-reported EQ5DY data completed by the child. The handling time here, it was about 1 year. So the economic evaluation handled at 3 months. They looked at the cost at 3 months and at 12 months as well. Handling uncertainty and sensitivity analysis. Multiple imputation was used to impute missing data and avoid bias associated with complete case analysis. Also, for the sensitivity analysis, re-estimating the main cost effectiveness outcome under the following scenarios. They use this. 1, conducting a pay protocol analysis where families having participated in 5 or more sessions of the Families for Health programs are regarded as program completers. And 2, multiple imputation of all missing costs and outcomes data. And 3, parent reported EQ5DY values of the study for children, substituted for child self-reported values in the formulation for QALYs. 4, incorporation of the EQ5D values reflecting the main parent self-reported health within calculations of the overall QALYs gained. So presentation of data and results. if we look at here, this is for the resource utilization for the period of 3 months before the randomization. This is pre-randomization. So over-the-counter medications, purchases, and additional meetings and with tutors were significantly higher for the usual care group compared with the families for health. I'll just phrase it, FFH, compared with the FFH group. So there were no significant difference between the trial arms across the remaining resource use categories. And this is for the post-randomization. So here, when we look at the mean standard error, the number of the GPs at surgery was significantly higher in the FFH group compared to the usual care. And then we can also see that for the social worker at home, it was also significantly higher. And the over-the-counter drugs too was also higher here. So the cost associated with the FFH, sorry, that's a typo. Here, the total cost here, I think I mentioned initially, was 32,492. Looking at, they had different categories, looking at family-linked training costs, other staff training costs, and then they had a total of 14,953 for that group. And then looking at the cost of delivering the families for health program during the trial, they looked at the staff costs, the travel costs, the subsistence, venue hire, toolkit, consumables, so which came up with a total of 32,492. Cost per attending child per program session by the program here. I mentioned earlier that it ranged from £4, let's call it £5 to £96 here. So they looked at the different programs were done here, which was a family for health, one body, one life, change for life, Weight Watchers, change for life, and all of that was done here. So this is a 3-month post-randomization cost of care by category. The GP visits, social worker contacts at home, overweight and obesity related programs, and overall community-based social and other care were significantly higher for FFH group compared to the usual care group here. Okay, this is the total cost for the NHS and the PSS cost. We had a total of £688, and the total societal cost was £791 compared with which was extremely higher compared with the usual care group. And this is a 12-month post-randomization. Because of time, I'm not going to go through everything. So analysis of incremental cost and incremental health outcome, they use a bivariate regression, which was used to estimate the incremental cost and incremental health outcomes associated with FFH program, and then adjusted incremental cost considering the NHS, that's the National Health System, and the PSS cost was about £483, and the adjusted incremental cost considering societal cost was about £410, which is explained later in this, it's explained here. So for the cost effectiveness results were expressed primarily in terms of an incremental cost effectiveness ratio, calculated as the difference in mean cost divided by the difference in mean outcomes, or change in BMI Z cost between baseline and 12 months between the trial comparators. So the average total cost was about £1,019 in the families for health group, compared with £507 in the usual care group, generating a mean incremental cost of £512. So the mean incremental cost effectiveness for the families for health program was estimated at £552,175 per quality gained. And this explains it, what I just described here. If you look at it for the quality here, we have a total of £1,019 compared with the usual group, which is £507, and so on. So for the health system and equity perspective in HCA, looking at this particular diagram, the ISA it mostly fell on the northwest quadrant of the cost effectiveness plane, which means that on average, the Families for Health program is dominated by usual care in health economic terms. That's what this means. And this is also for the cost effectiveness analysis score for BMI, Z-score outcome. So which indicates that regardless of the value of the cost effectiveness, the probability that the FFH program is cost effective does not exceed 2% on the basis of this BMI Z-score outcome. So if decision makers are willing to, according to this paper, they said if decision makers are willing to pay about £20,000 per unit change in BMI Z-score, the probability that the FFH program is cost effective is less than 1%. So if we go deeper into the study perspective to that of society as a whole, it had a little effect on this cost effectiveness results. For the policy making and rules of HTA, it is conceivable that family-based group interventions containing the key components of the Families for Health program could represent a cost-effective use of public resources for the treatment of overweight status or obesity during mid-childhood. If strategies are in place to enhance the program adherence. Then they went ahead to say the incremental costs associated with enhancement to the program would need to be factored into future analysis. In conclusion, this study results indicate that FFH is unlikely to represent a cost-effective use of resources targeted at overweight or obese children. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. You picked the wrong study. I mean the big study, because I opened your PDF. It's about 200 pages. So it's not manuscript. It's like the report for like NHS for national health system in UK. So for any new procedure or new medicine in the UK, they will do like this. They will do like RCT and then continue with the economic evaluation. So for your paper, it's like first half is RCT for effectiveness, clinical effectiveness, and then the second half is economic. So it's quite big, but it's
very,
okay.
Very big. Sorry.
It's okay. So
sorry, and I'm a little bit yeah, sorry, and I'm a little bit distracted because my babies are awake. So sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No,
So,
it's okay. Go ahead.
In which perspective you report in this presentation?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
In which perspective do you report?
In which
perspective?
In which perspective? In the economic evaluation perspective?
Yes. Like societal or government or patients?
Okay. Oh, yeah, this particular one is the societal.
Only societal?
No, it's societal and both the government, the NHS is there, and then the personal, yes.
Okay.
So it's a combination of both.
Yes. So that's why we quite confused, because you select the big one and then you present some of this. Like for sensitivity analysis, I found like 10 isopen over there, but you pick only one. But it's okay now. It's okay.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you, Eddie. Happy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Please cut. Go ahead, Ajahn.
When you will be back, huh?
Oh, I'll be back very soon. Second week. I think I'll be back on the 19th. I'll be back on the 19th of May.
Okay. But next week you will join RACE617 online, right?
Yes, definitely, yes.
Okay, take
Yes.
careนะคะOkay.
All right, thank you. Please, can I take permission to leave so I can attend to my baby, please?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
See you.
Hello. Mine is the last one, so I hope that it will be not too long. Okay. My paper that I select today is, sorry, I cannot see the screen. Is the cost effectiveness of the treatment in children with attention ADHD in the Markov model approach is published in the Medical Decision Making Policy and Practice in 2019. As you can see here, there are like three keywords: cost effectiveness, treatment, and ADHD. So basically, why I select this paper, because according to RACE607 protocol, I plan to study the ADHD, the prevalence of the ADHD in the patient in the juvenile delinquency, the teenage who commit the criminal acts. So I would like to see whether is that the prevalence of ADHD is higher in this population or not. Therefore, after we identify, the next plan is that we can try to treat this patient to see whether it can reduce the criminal cost. So therefore, it might be good to review the paper whether the treatment of this ADHD in this population will have the cost effectiveness or not. Or in other words, treatment of the ADHD will reduce or have some cost effectiveness in terms of the delinquency as an outcome. Okay, the scope of the study, it used the cohort database from the MTA study of multimodal treatment of ADHD. It's a multi-site cohort study in New York, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Canada, and California, several sites. And it collected data since 1998. So it's more than 10 years ago, and collected data from around 600 children aged 7 to 9. So they are now more than teenage. Okay. They have three groups in the MTA study: the medication, mentally medication, and behavioral treatment, which means that they have some session with the parents and try to change the behavior, and also the combined treatment, both medication and behavioral, and also the control as the routine community. Okay. So how they measure in this one? The outcome will be a delinquency in the MTA. What they want to see is the delinquency. So how they measure the outcome? It can measure from the two types: the parent reports and also through self-reports. And after they get the reports from the parents, during the teenage, they separate into three groups: no delinquency, minor to moderate delinquency, and a serious delinquency. And in this study, they use the Markov model. There can be the transition between no delinquency and the minor to moderate delinquency. But once this group turn to be the serious delinquency, they will assign them to be the absorbed state. How about the post-economic evaluation? They use the Markov model for 10 years, and the effectiveness, the time that they to study is not really the quality, but it's the same concept. The time is the average time not reaching serious delinquency. The time not reaching serious delinquency, it means that if we have the treatment, how can they prevent the ADHD children turns to be serious delinquency? How long they can prevent that to occur? So it's the life year of the serious delinquency prevents, which means that higher higher life year means that they can prevent longer. So it's better treatment. And they did the 10,000 simulations. And for the cost, they combine three aspects: the medical cost from the drugs, the visit cost for the teacher and aides, because there is some assistance from the teacher and some other staff, and also cost of the medical staff. The cost of this staff is psychiatrists, psychologists, or pediatricians get from the annual salary divided compared for the hourly wage for the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And after that, they convert to be the cost of each treatment for the daily cost. As you can see here, the routine care, right-hand side here, routine care has the lowest cost, $0.52. Medication is a little bit higher, and behavioral is higher than medication because it involves several staff, so it needs more staff to attend and to treat this patient, and the combined treatment is the highest. Combined treatment is the highest compared to the routine cost. Okay, annual rate of discounting 3%. Willingness to pay. Willingness to pay, they calculate from the cost of the justice system. They use the cost of the criminal with the ADHD and minus the cost of the criminal of the non-ADHD children. So the willingness to pay is something like if you treat from the ADHD to be non-ADHD, you reduce what cost. So when they calculate it, the cost of willingness to pay to be $12,370, and this comes from the review of the economic burden of the ADHD. Okay. And what they want to compare, they compare as the net monetary benefit. They convert everything into the monetary benefit. How can they compare? They use the formula like this. It's they use the mean prevent life year. So how long they can prevent the life year with the willingness to pay, and then minus by the total treatment cost. So the higher of net monetary benefit, it means that it's better, because it means that the cost is lower than the cost of the prevent of the treatment of the serious delinquency. So higher NMB means that better treatment. And they also do the sensitivity analysis for the range of the willingness to pay from $0 to $50,000. Okay, so this is PICO, just brief children with ADHD, compare between these three treatment and our routine medication, behavioral combined treatment, and routine community treatment, and the outcome is net monetary benefit from the serious delinquency. Okay. This is the result. The left hand is just only the demographic data, and the right hand side is the survival analysis, the prevention of the serious delinquency. I will not go into detail. I want to focus here is that the main figure of this paper is that, as you can see here, the mean NMB in the arrow doesn't move. Okay, sorry. The mean NMB is, you can see that for the routine care, routine community care, it has the highest mean NMB compared to other treatment, which means that this is the better treatment in terms of the economic evaluation, because it has the benefit of 113,000, whether it has the undiscount or discount compared to other treatment. Why it has the best one? It means they discuss that because the cost of the treatment is very lower than other treatment, just only 1,769 compared to other treatment. So by this evaluation, the routine community care has the highest net monetary benefit. And they also do the sensitivity analysis. They change the willingness to pay is still the same results. And they also do the logistic regression and adjust the factor, whether maybe some factor might affect for the model, but it's still going to the same result, no different in terms of statistical difference. Okay. That's the result of the outcome. But for me, when I look into this, I'm a little bit surprised, because if you look into the mean life year prevent, it looks like that even the control of the routine community care has better life year prevent from delinquents, even better than the medication and behavioral. So as you can see here, it has the 9.3 to prevent longer, even longer than the medication and the behavioral treatment, but less than the combined. So I was surprised at how come the control is better than the intervention by itself. So I go back to see the original study. For your background, for the MTA study, they have several outcomes that we want to measure. For the ADHD symptom is the main outcome that we already know that the combined is better than the medication and the medication better than the control. But for the ADHD patient, there are several outcomes, not just only ADHD symptom. They also have the delinquency is also another outcome that people might be interested. So I go back to see the original article in 2007. It turns out that for the delinquency, there is no difference between the treatment modality. Okay. So it means that the combined no difference between medication, no difference between the behavioral, and no difference between the routine community care. And they also discussed why it happened like this a little bit against what they expect. So they go back to see the control. The control is the routine community. The routine community means that doesn't mean that there is no treatment. The routine community means that they send to the local hospital and just treatment by usual care. And the treatment by usual care, they also find that 70% receive the medication. So basically, the control doesn't mean there's no treatment. The control means that they just have the usual care, not as strict as the protocol as the behavioral or medication. So that's why this might not be different, because if you have the treatment, they will reduce the delinquency for sure. So if they want to compare in terms of the cost evaluation, they might not or they should not compare between with the routine care, because if they want to see the treatment effect, they should compare to the community ADHD without treatment. So if I want to appraise this, at first my concept for the economic, I think that okay, there might be different effectiveness, and then you do cost effective analysis to see whether the treatment has a better economical value or not, because sometimes the treatment might have better outcome, but it's costly or it's more expensive. So you have to check with the economical value. But in this paper, the data show that actually they even know the effect is not different. So why they bother to do the cost effectiveness analysis from the first place? That's what I want to criticize, because if you know that the outcome is not different, so why you want to see the cost? Because the outcome is because we already know that the routine care should be the cheapest or the least in terms of the cost. The second thing I would like to see that we have to be careful when we see the study like this, because the control doesn't mean no treatment. But on the other hand, we might say that only the routine treatment is enough to reduce the delinquency. Might not enough for the reduce the symptom, but if the outcome is delinquency, even the routine treatment is enough to do that. So if we come back to the policy or HA perspective, I might consider that okay, this result only routine community care might be possible to reduce the symptom or to prevent the delinquency. So therefore, in the future, to treatment this group and expect for the delinquency outcome, just a routine, just make them come to the hospital to see a doctor and give some medication is enough. We don't need a very strict modality to treat it. So that might be the benefit for the policy, because it doesn't need that high cost for the treatment. Thank you.
I'm not sure that I understand you correctly. The previous study in
MTA.
Yes. The result from this study is that the effectiveness is similar in four interventions.
Yes.
So if why the researchers know that the effective is not different why they conduct cost effective, why don't like cost minimization, why they
I don't know.
chose.
I don't know. That's what I am so surprised. But there is some might be because the way that they analyze this, I mean, might be a little bit different in terms of the model use and things. So they might expect that it might be show the difference, but
Because if the effect is similar, just compare the cost, can directly.
Actually, in the normal way, when we found that, like Ajahn said, when it has like a similar outcome, we will do cost minimization or less effectiveness. We don't do any cost effectiveness analysis. I also don't know why, but how they measure the liquidity, how they measure by questionnaire or measure by health exam, and how they classify it as no, minor, and severe.
they use the two questionnaire. Actually, 4 questionnaire. The questionnaire from the parents, the questionnaire from the surgery.
It's standard.
Standard.
Standard for this disease. How many dimension in there? How many questions? How many dimensions?
Many. I don't go to the review.
Did they assume that all of them will become severe delinquency because it's absorbing state, and within 10 years, all of them will do something
No, I don't
severe?
so.
ไม่รู้
Not all.
Not
Just-
all, but all error is, serious delinquency is like absorbing state. Like death, everyone will go to that state. So the assumption is everyone will do something.
Is it possible
Yes.
that, I mean, after 10 years, there are still some, because the length of the model is 10 years. So after 10 years, there might be some patient that still be in this group.
And in which, same question, in which perspective this report study?
And because there is at first I think it's a hospital, but since they calculate not just only from the hospital base, because they also calculate from the cost of this is for the medical cost, this is cost for the teacher and the cost of medical staff, but for the willingness to pay, they also include the justice system, cost of the justice system. So I understand it is a society.
But no indirect cost, no.
No, not indirect cost, because it just cover only medical and criminal justice system cost.
But from their abstract, it's like they collect data only 14 months of trial periods and then extrapolate the result to 10 years.
Yes. Because the original MTA is 14 months for the first public paper, but there are some other that follow up like for 8 years or 10 years also. That's why maybe because this study that I show that there is no difference, it's 8 years. Yes, your follow up for the delinquency. So they might think that if they use the original for 14 months, it might be different. I don't know. Maybe.
Like use only 14 months and then extrapolate
for
10 years.
Or did they only use the subset of the cohort, only those who commit some
only.
serious deed, right? That's why everyone end up having that absorbing state.
I wonder why, okay, you are not the authors, but maybe you have some opinion. Why couldn't they just use like an official record of some crime, some criminal act that these teenagers might commit? I mean, can you categorize from the questionnaires whether I commit some some
Yes,
serious or mild dealing with
That's also what when I presented
Delinquency.
603. Because the delinquency, even though delinquency, the definition as delinquency is child adolescent with a criminal charge. So basically, the real one is that's the criminal
Right.
charge. The real one is the criminal
So
charge.
I wonder why they
I don't know,
use the
but-
questionnaire as
But when I review in this area, many of them use questionnaire instead of the real criminal charge. I'm not sure, maybe they have some limitation of link
yeah.
between the study or.
So it would be only so examples of the question could be, have you ever done
Ever
blah
done, yes.
blah in the last 12
In the
months
last
or
12
something?
months,
Okay,
yeah,
I see.
whether you have the fight or whether you steal
Yes.
the report of antisocial delinquency
I
will
see.
be question like that.
Thanks. That's interesting. I want to see when they compare parents and self-report how it
Wow.
And actually, I have a question about the willingness to pay. I wonder how I don't really understand why the cost of justice system is cost of criminal ADHD and cost of criminal non-ADHD. Do you understand them or?
I don't understand why it's a very different, but I don't understand either. I have not reviewed this one yet.
It's like they just want to see the difference between the two groups of children, but it seems like if you are ADHD, you're criminal. I guess it's the same criminal act, right? Actually, cost of what I don't really understand.
Criminal justice. For my understanding, it might okay, for the children with the ADHD, they tend to commit a crime more severe and more frequent than the children without the ADHD.
Oh,
So the concept for willingness to pay for them is that, for example, if we treat the treatment, if we treat the children and turn the ADHD to be non-ADHD because they're already treated.
I see. Oh, okay.
So how much that is cost compared to the criminal system that will spend to.
Okay, thanks.
It's been here. And I also wonder why. Very well, something I know.
Thank you, Han. So we finished the course already. Yay. Yay. So enjoy your next course. Oh, oh.
Give me 1 month.
Thanks you allนะคะ. See you next time.
เห็นแล้ว
เขาแบบจำได้ที่คิดว่าจะทำ
แต่ที่ผมก็เอาทั้งหมดมาลง
ไม่ได้ยินนะคะ
เรื่องอะไรนะ
เรื่องทั้งหมดนี้จากที่เราทำไว้เนี่ยเยอะแยะ
ไม่ต้องเอาอันกระดาษแต่อันนี้เป็นกระดาษเล่มเรา
ที่ต้องพยายามที่เราไม่มีมาจะไม่ไหว
เติมไม่ได้
ไม่ไหวเลยก็ช่วย
ใช่แล้วสุดท้ายอ่ะใครที่เราอยากเป็นประชาชนไม่จำเป็นต้อง
เอาหมดก็ได้
จะเอาหมดกันมาเลย
ที่เหลือก็อันนี้เหลือ
แต่สุดต้องบอกว่ามันนะเขาเป็นมันเขาเต็ม1,000แล้วก็พวกเนี้ย5 โลแล้ว50
มีบางอันเลยบางอันดีแล้วมึง
ทำแล้ว0.3 คะแนน0.5 คะแนนมีอะไรที่ชอบก็เป็นข้าวร้านแดงครับผมพาคนไปดูขอเงินเปอร์เซ็นต์
สู้ได้ที่หลังเขียนเต็ม100ดีกว่าเด็กปีหน้าเด็กเต็ม100ตกใจก็เอาว่า
เป็นดีแค่นี้เลยอย่าง
ใช่จริงๆคิดอยู่นะแล้วก็แบบคิดว่าทุกคนก็คงรู้อยู่ดีเลย
ไม่มีผลไม่ได้ไกลขนาดนั้น
ไม่รู้ไม่ได้นะ